What's wrong with choice?
What choice, ma'am?
What's wrong with choice?
Because some choices are wrong. And when those choices end the life of a unique, whole, living human being, those choices should not be legal choices available to anyone. But do you know what the word fetus means?
Fetus. F-E-T-U-S.
Do you think children in the womb are cum shots?
Some of them are.
Some are, some aren't. This is science, guys. Some are, some aren't. That's science, apparently.
We were talking about sex earlier. Don't shy away from it.
No, I'm not. I just said cum shot like 4 times. I'm not shying away from anything. I'm answering your question.
And guys, do you see why it's so important to make sure you date a pro-life woman?
I want to say you two both do a really, really, really good job at the good cop, bad cop thing.
This is my first time ever doing this with
Really?
her.
I know, we've
I
never
have,
talked
I have
before
never
together.
done an event with another person.
There you go.
I'm naturally a star. I know that.
I would just say, like, let people talk a little bit more. I understand. Like, you've already heard it before. I get it.
I didn't even give my
you're
speech
doing it right now.
tonight,
See, you're
sir.
doing it right now.
I didn't even give my speech tonight.
Stop it. Yeah, look.
I'm gonna start a clip with that turkey call. Give everyone on social media's attention.
Oh, that's great. Lives your TikTok.
Misogynist man, turkey calls Kristan Hawkins.
I'm not binary. That's crazy. I'm not binary.
Well, you just said everything is gray. Are there moral absolutes? Are there things in this world that you can say, hands down, this is wrong?
Ma'am, I'm not here to discuss slavery with you. I'm here to discuss no exceptions
Well,
to
I asked
abortions
you,
with
are there moral absolutes? Because when we're in the pro-life movement, we're making an argument that there should be no abortions. I am making a moral argument that it is always immoral to unjustly end the life of an innocent human being simply because of their size, their location, their genetic code, the perception, their abilities, the circumstances of their conception. I'm saying that is an immoral act because you are killing a member of our species. So that's why I'm asking you, do you believe in moral absolutes? Do you believe that there are certain things that are always wrong?
Ma'am, I'm not going to waste your time. I will let some of my other friends speak, but thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
Hello, my name is Maya, and I organized this protest today.
Thank you.
So what's wrong with choice?
Well, I'm actually pro-choice in a lot of things, right? I'm pro-freedom to choose your education, freedom
What's wrong with pro-choice for not wanting a baby?
Because killing a human being should never be a choice, should never be a choice that other people should have to choose to end the life of an innocent human being. There are some choices that are always going to be wrong. That's why I asked your peer, did she believe in moral absolutes? Because there are some things
But what does
that are
those
always
choices
wrong.
have to do with you?
Because we're killing a member of our species, right? So I am called, if I know that there's injustice happening in this world and a human rights violation happening, I believe good human beings are called to speak up against injustice happening in our world. There's a lot of injustices happening in our country and across the world. How do you think we see
Like gun control?
How do you think we see transformational change? By good people speaking up for those who don't have a voice, those who are marginalized.
Well, I think you should just let women choose.
Choose what? Choose what?
Choose to do whatever they want with their bodies because it's our bodies.
I believe
It's
women can
not
do
the
what. I
government's
believe you can
bodies.
have as
It's
many
not your
piercings
bodies.
as you want.
Our
You don't have
bodies
to
do not
shave your
belong to
armpits.
anyone in
I
this
believe you
room.
can dye
If
your
you
hair,
want
have
to
all the
save
tattoos you
babies'
want.
lives, you go do that, but you don't
No.
have to talk
See,
to
that's
the
not
government
fair.
and tell
Pro-life
them
move-
that
the pro-life movement-
shut our uteruses down. Like, no.
So
If you want to save babies and you want to take care of kids, I heard that you have things in place to
I did
help
do that.
to help. So just do that. Take all this energy that you're doing into this whole no abortions, no exceptions. That's morally insane, actually.
why is it morally insane? Why is it morally insane?
Oh, you already know what I'm going to say. What happens if I'm raped? What are you going to tell me then? That I need to go to therapy?
Rebecca, would you like to come up? Sure. So there's someone in the audience today. Are you okay sharing your story?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, about the issue of rape, let me ask you something, first of all. Is in the Me Too day and age, would you support a law which would authorize any woman to just say rape and it would be lawful for her to pay someone to have her rapist killed? Or just her innocent child?
Can you repeat that question?
Would you authorize a law where you could say you're raped and you would be allowed to hire someone to have your alleged rapist killed?
Hire someone?
Yeah, to kill your rapist.
Is that moral or immoral?
Would you support a law that did that?
No.
Why?
Why not?
Well, what you just said was stupid. And I think the whole idea is stupid. Why would you pass okay, let me repeat the question back to you.
Well, what if the
Would
rapist
you
is a
pass
horrible
a
reminder?
Me Too movement that allows you to claim rape?
Will you just say you're
and
raped?
then you go hire like a contract killer
Yeah, to kill you.
to go kill your rapist.
Or you could find a doctor to do it, but
Yeah.
do you think it should be legal to kill your rapist? Or just the innocent child? Because what
Do you
if
think it should be? Oh, actually, no. All rapists should die. Let me change that.
So, first of all, the U.S. Supreme Court, I'm an attorney, so the U.S. Supreme Court in Coker v. Georgia said that rapists don't deserve the death penalty. And in the second case of Kennedy v. Louisiana, the U.S. Supreme Court said that even for child molesters, it's cruel and unusual punishment. So how did I deserve to die for the crime of the man who raped my mother?
How did you deserve to die? You're right there. I'm confused.
Yeah, well, that's because the law protected me. I was born exactly 3.5 years to the date of Roe v. Wade. My birth mother went to 2 illegal abortions, and I was almost killed, but she backed out because of the law and fear for her own safety. She told me if it had been legal, she absolutely would have aborted me. And 6 years later, she changed her mind about abortion, like many women do. But I literally owe my birth to the law, which protected me. So I'm asking you, how did I deserve to die for the crime of the man who raped my mother?
Well, at that point in time, you were still, in your mother's belly, and she had all control over you because you're a part of her body. And if she wanted you removed, that's her choice. I'm glad that you're here today. Like, you survived. Congratulations. But it's still her choice. And it doesn't matter about if there was a law there to save you. Like, if she wanted to, she could have. And that's it.
So I value you as a person, and I can tell you I'm so glad you're here, honestly, and I'm so glad you're alive. I'm so glad you were born. Mm. But what I'm hearing you say is that if you had your way, I'd be dead right now. Because my birth mother's choice, her choice was to kill me. Mm. And the law protected me. And the question is, did I deserve the protection I received? Thank you. It's okay. You can take your time.
Hi, it's nice to meet you. Well, firstly, I'd like to say I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that this room is filled with strong, independent, free-thinking women. I have noticed that we've all, been able to establish a space of respect, and I'd like to carry that on as much as possible. That goes for other speakers as well as the audience.
Thank you.
Keep that in mind. Your question to her was, how did you deserve to die? I don't believe that you deserved to die. You're free. There's a
that actually wasn't my question. Can I just, because it's nuanced. There's a difference.
Yeah, that's fine.
Did I deserve the protection I received?
Well, that's not the question you asked, my friend.
I did ask her, did I deserve the protection that I received?
That's not the way you formatted the question.
That's the last question I asked, and someone here said.
What was the question you asked before that, if you don't mind?
Did I deserve to die for the crime of a man who raped my mother? And then the last question I asked was, did I deserve the protection I received? Because I wasn't lucky, I was protected.
I feel as though that you had a right to be protected, as I feel like there is a right for all of you guys here to have the opinions that you do. I also feel as though that your mother had a choice to not be reminded not to put you in an uncomfortable position by saying this, but your mother also had a right to not have an everyday reminder of a wrongdoing done unto her.
So you honestly think I'm a reminder of the rape?
As I said before, I don't mean to say this in a way that puts you in an uncomfortable position. Not at all do I think that this is the way in which your mother view you. However, in the cases of women who are pregnant by sexual assault and by rape in the early years after that birth, it is. And I don't mean to say that to make you feel any kind of way, but it is the fact of a matter. Consequences of actions done unto us that we cannot control are a reminder of the pain it put us through in the moment and the moment after.
So do you think a rapist is a reminder? Do you think a rapist is a reminder?
I do.
And would you support a woman just say rape and she can pay someone to have him killed?
That's different. Another thing I have also noticed.
How is that different?
I'd like to explain that if I can.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I'd like to also point out that throughout this discussion, there have been almost absurd, absurd comparisons being made that I don't find I'm not very keen of. I'd like to just point that out right now. This is one of them. It's different in it happening and someone just claiming it. There's a difference, and that needs to be noted. A woman just claiming she was raped and then going on and putting in actions for that supposed person to be punished is not right. Why? Because it's not proven that it happened. If the scenario that you suggested was if a woman was raped, if she was sexually assaulted, and that person was brought to an equal amount of justice that our law system and that she personally felt would equate to what was wrongfully done for her, that is a different question than what you proposed. So someone suggesting something that may have not happened and then they taking action to retaliate against that someone that may not have done it is completely different.
So if a woman is actually raped,
I'm not done.
If a woman is actually raped, can she hire a hitman?
Can we be respectful? I am not done.
Well, I'm just trying to cut through
this. And I'm trying to finish my statement. I would love to hear what you have to say after I have finished my statement. Thank you. But suggesting that someone receive retaliation for something they may not have done without it being proven simply is not how our legal system works. And so we will not.
Kind of sounds like what happens to the baby, right?
Yeah. So let me clarify why. Because
what is the baby done? What is the baby done?
First, I would like for one of you guys to speak at a time so I can properly
respond. What is the baby done to the mother? Why does the baby deserve a death penalty when most people in America would be uncomfortable with the question, can a woman who is raped legally hire a hitman and kill the rapist? Most people in America would say, I kind of think that's probably morally wrong, even though he has done the greatest harm to her. What has the baby done to the mother? Why does the baby deserve the death penalty? Because there's no court cases that are happening that the judge is like, yep, you fetus, you're going down.
And the reason why I say that is because whenever there's a rape exception, very rarely is there even a reporting requirement. But when there is reporting requirement, all it is a reporting requirement. No requirement in having to prosecute. There's no due process whatsoever. The baby just summarily receives the death penalty. That's it, as long as you just say rape. And that is how it is wherever you have laws that ban abortion except in cases of rape. There's zero due process. And so that's why I do properly make that analogy. And, what I find is most people who support abortion rights are also against the death penalty. Personally, I'm against the death penalty because I believe that you do not put a single innocent person to death for someone else's crime. I think that's immoral. And we have a flawed system. You just look at the the Innocence Project, how many people were on death row and they were found innocent. And I think that's immoral to put a single innocent person to death.
Right.
And so for that reason, I'm against the death penalty. But it's interesting that so many people will summarily allow the child to receive the death penalty. Zero due process, just say rape, and that child can be killed.
Was there a question in that?
I was clarifying why that is a proper analogy.
I deny your clarification. Once again, was there a question in either of your statements?
No, I was asking you, do you think, like, what has the child done to the mother to deserve to die? What has the child done? What are they guilty of?
What's wrong with choice?
What choice,
What's
ma'am?
wrong with choice?
So let's.
If you want to be pro-life,
Yeah.
people can have babies, and when people have those babies, you go out and you make sure those babies are fed. You make sure those babies are clothed. You make sure they have good education. And the women that aren't having babies, leave them alone. You make sure that the children are being born.
Don't you think you have a responsibility to also clothe and feed babies
but
too?
Instead of just
Are you saying it's
putting all of
only-
your energy into that, you would rather tell every woman that, oh, if you get pregnant, there's your sentence.
Yeah, because unless you're talking about the case of sexual assault or you're talking about a case of incest, 98% of women who become pregnant have knowingly engaged in a behavior that they understand that a biological reality may be the creation of a unique human being. And if you're adult enough to engage in heterosexual sex, you should be adult enough to say, you know what, I've committed this act that I know biologically can create a unique human life. I should be responsible enough to take responsibility for my actions. What abortion says is you don't have to take responsibility for your actions. And you keep using the word choice. And you said that in your earlier remarks before she came up. But I don't think you're properly defining what abortion. Abortion is the pro-life movement. Those of us who are pro-life, we're very pro-choice. We think people and women especially have autonomy to their bodies. But I think your autonomy, your right to do whatever the hell you want, stops when it harms somebody else. Do you think...
Harms who?
A child. Let me ask you a question. Do you think you can go into the pulmonary ward of a children's hospital where there's children who have cystic fibrosis like my children and start smoking? Do you think, because you're doing what you want to do with your body, do you think there's anything wrong if you go into a pulmonary ward of a children's hospital and you just start smoking?
That's an absurd situation.
Well, no.
And
Have you done anything wrong?
Why would I
Excuse
do
me.
that?
Because you're doing something with your body, right?
Excuse me,
So
can I
the
interject?
idea is, ma'am, there are some choices that are immoral. Sometimes you have to restrain yourself because some choices are wrong. And when those choices end the life of a unique, whole, living human being, those choices should not be legal choices available to anyone.
No, I think that's a really great statement. I'd like to point out what you said, a uniquely whole human being.
Yes.
A fetus is not a uniquely whole human being. Now, of course,
yes, it is.
It's not.
When
And
does
of
human-
course, it is.
Is
Excuse
there any
me.
biology majors here? Yes. Biology major, raise your hand fastest.
Oh.
When does human life begin? Why does human life begin at conception?
You have sperm and an egg.
Two parts.
Two parts. So it's not just the male and it's not.
That's right.
It
Two
takes
parts.
two to tango.
Two parts unite.
So then they unite and then they start exchanging DNA material trying to form the actual child.
Yes. So human life begins, ma'am, you began when your mother's egg and your father's sperm, two parts, united and formed a unique genetic DNA code that's never existed before, will never exist again. That's when human life begins. 95%, 96% actually, of biologists agree with that. University of Chicago study, there were 5,000 biologists who were actually surveyed in this study, 86% of whom said that they were pro-choice or Democrats, and that actually agreed that human life begins at conception. You don't actually have to be pro-life or Republican to agree with that. In fact, actually, did you all watch the Bill Maher clip from this weekend? Yes. Bill Maher, what did Bill Maher say on national television this week? Do you remember what he said?
No.
He said that it's murder, but that he's okay with it.
Bill Maher admitted He said, of course, abortion kills a human. Abortion is murder, but I'm okay with a murder. Bill Maher is an honest pro-abortion intellectual because he admits what science teaches us, that the moment of conception, unique, whole, living human life comes into existence. That is a member of our species. It's not a koala bear. It's not some other alien species. It's a human. It's part of it's a Homo sapien, right? That human is killed in an abortion. Bill Maher, who thinks abortion should be legal whenever, actually admitted that on national TV this weekend.
Can I add something to that?
Sure.
So as an attorney, I've litigated numerous frozen embryo cases. And I handled the first frozen embryo case in Michigan. It was a third in the nation. And the IVF doctors who perform abortions testified under oath that from conception, they are living human beings. And male or female, and ascertainably so. Like in IVF clinics, they can check and ascertain whether these are sons or daughters. So we're not even talking about an it. You know, they have a gender. And they absolutely are living human beings. And I've had people suggest, well, no, they're not. And it's like, they're inanimate objects. They're dead. They're not living. I mean, the whole IVF industry is predicated upon the fact that they're dealing in living human beings. Because if not, they're going to get sued and they're not going to make any money. That's just science.
So do you want to go back to your question about you don't think that the human in the womb is a human? Do you want to change that view?
No, my view stays the same, but...
What do you think it is?
It's a fetus.
But do you know what the word fetus means?
Fetus. F-E-T-U-S.
Fetus is Latin for the word young one or small child.
Okay.
You didn't come from a fetus, ma'am. You once were a fetus, like you once were a zygote.
I understand
so
that.
is that you are a human in the fetal stage. You are a human in the embryonic stage. So a fetus is not a different species. You understand that, right?
I never said as such.
Is it a human inside of a mother?
I understand the point you are making. However, my stance has not changed.
So you're okay. You believe it's a human inside of the mother, but you think that the mother...
It's not a wholly developed human. That's the part.
Well, it's actually whole, right? Because at the moment of conception, does the mother's body tell the child how to develop?
You realize you're not a wholly developed human. Like we're not wholly developed until, well, it's true. Scientifically, we're not wholly developed until a certain age. Like as adults, women are wholly developed actually earlier than men are. But not, at this age, you guys aren't wholly developed yet. Okay. So that doesn't mean that you deserve to be killed just because you're not wholly developed. But a child is whole in the womb, right? Because you understand the mother's body. But, okay. Do you think the mother's body tells the child how to develop? Do you think that the mother's body is like, okay, kid, today you're growing an arm bud? No. The child, encoded in the DNA, the DNA tells the child how to develop itself. That's why when we say
that's how that works.
The child in the womb is whole. Mm-hmm. There's nothing that needs to be added to the child in order for them to become you. You are you at the moment of conception.
It's completely dependent upon the woman's body.
Now let's talk about let's talk about dependency. So we say a child, the human in the embryonic or zygote stage in the womb is unique, whole, living, unrepeatable, will never exist again, never existed before. Is that child in the womb dependent? Absolutely. But do you think that a newborn who's like 6 hours old should be able to be killed? A mother should be able to kill it?
No, and that is first of all, that is
Why not?
Egregious comparison.
Why not?
Because it is.
Because if you were honest.
Whoa. Excuse me, if you're going to ask me a question, I'd like the freedom to be able to answer said question.
I'm just saying, if you're honest, you would agree with Peter saying you're honest.
And I'm saying if you were honest to what your intentions were, you would allow us to answer your question.
Why do you think it's different? Why is a child who's 6 hours old outside the womb, how do you think that child's no longer dependent on the mother?
It's different because it's outside of the womb.
So do you think my vaginal canal is magical?
Also, right.
No, because what you're saying is the 6 inches of my vaginal canal takes a non-human or a human that doesn't have rights and turns them into a human with rights. All that's changed within 6 hours is that human, if I've gone through a vaginal birth, has passed through my vaginal canal.
Yeah, I'm glad you
Nothing's
mentioned that
changed.
because I feel as though you answered your question as in what's the difference. That is the difference.
So the difference is location.
Excuse me. The difference is in the beginning, before the 6 hours, it was birth, whatever. The baby was fully dependent on the mother.
But the baby still
fully
is dependent.
dependent on the mother, as in the mother's body. Without the mother, there'd be no baby. There'd be no child. The difference between a baby in the womb and out the womb is that it's out the womb.
So
it no longer needs the mother to survive.
So
it no longer needs the mother to develop. It no longer needs the mother to reach maturity to a state where it can develop outside of the womb.
Let me ask you a question. I was on this 3-hour boat cruise a couple weeks ago in Florida.
And that's relevant how?
I regretted it immediately when I got on because I didn't think about the irony. If I had been 9 months pregnant and I got on this boat cruise, which was extremely choppy and not fun, and our boat, we're in the Keys, and there's like 10,000 islands in the Florida Keys. Fun fact, by the way. So the boat turns over, capsizes. Everybody in the boat dies except for me and my pregnant belly. And I float onto one of the barrier islands, okay? I give birth by myself on a remote island in the Florida Keys because everyone else in the ship is dead, people. They've all died because this boat capsized. I give birth to the child. The child is out of my uterus, right? It's passed through my vaginal canal. I've delivered my own baby.
That's how that happens, yeah.
If I kill my baby is 100% dependent on me, right? Because in order to survive, my baby needs what? Food. Who has the food? My breast. If I decide at that moment, hey, you're dependent on me, but you know what? I like my nipples the way they are, and I don't want my breast to sag any further. I'm not going to feed you. And then 2 weeks later, I get miraculously found in the Florida Keys on this island, national news, crazy pro-life woman found, birthed her own child. But then they go, well, what happened to your baby? And you're like, yeah, I don't want my nipples to get messed up and chafed and my boobs to sag, so I let it die. Have I done anything wrong? Because that baby was dependent on me the whole time.
If I answer the question, can I fully answer the question?
Sure, go for it.
Okay. You're on the island. You birth your child. It's your child. You're a woman who decided to have a child. That child is now your moral responsibility. Now, that doesn't compute. And
what if I was going to have an abortion
Excuse me,
tomorrow?
I'm fully answering the question.
I was going to have an abortion tomorrow, and I just didn't have time to get to the abortion facility because I had to go to this work event on the boat. So I'm on a boat. I'm 9 months pregnant. I'm getting ready to have an abortion tomorrow, but I got to go to this work event because I'm a working career woman. So I've already chosen to abort my baby, but I'm aborting my baby tomorrow.
Once again, this is an egregious comparison. You decided to have an abortion on a cruise. Please tell me in what case that has actually happened. Wait, you can't because it is an obnoxious comparison you're trying to make to further prove your case.
Actually, that's what they're doing off the shore of Texas.
Yeah,
is they have these abortion boats.
Oh,
Just
get one of them up there. I'd love to talk to them.
No, there are actually abortion cruises.
Yeah.
That's like a real thing. They take cruise ships into the ocean and international waters and commit abortions. My point is, your argument is that while the child is fully dependent upon the woman in utero, but out of utero, suddenly the child becomes a person with rights because it's not fully dependent. But what I've done is said, well, no, I'm alone with this baby. This baby is fully dependent on me. And you think it's egregious for me to give that example because we all acknowledge that once a child has been born, me refusing to give my child my breast to feed would be an immoral action, to starve the child, because we all acknowledge, pro-life and pro-choice, that I would do something wrong because the child is out of utero. But that child's fully dependent on me to live. I think it's an inaccurate statement to say that the child in the womb is fully dependent, but the child out of the womb isn't fully dependent, because I'm a mom of 4. I can tell you very much the child out of utero, especially hours out of utero, my original example was 6 hours, is 100% fully dependent on the parents to survive.
No, absolutely. The difference is with the comparison that you gave me, one, you birth, like you're not on an island, you're in a hospital or somewhere else where there's other people. If you make the choice to where, oh, you know what, you don't want to be responsible for the child anymore, there are actions in place to make sure that that child is then fully cared for. I do think that, unless it's in the case of adoption, whatever, that is wrong. You choose to have a child. The second you have a child, you're like, you know what? I don't want to have a child anymore. It's not my problem. That I do think is morally wrong because because I'm getting to that, because you chose to have a child and bring it into this world, yet you didn't.
But that's an
excuse me,
assumption.
I'm not
What if
done.
I was going to have an abortion tomorrow, but I went into early labor
But
tonight?
like I'm saying, that's not the case in which I'm speaking of, because that's not the case you originally brought to me.
So what if
And
you were
before
stranded?
before you finish, I would like to finish as well. And as the comparison continues, and you said you're on an island by yourself, that's different. You're not in a hospital. You're not with a midwife. You're not with someone else who could carefully care for the child that was born. You're on an island. You're alone. Now you are Now you are. How can I put this? You're a fully cognitive person, knowing that there is another dependent person, a baby, who won't survive without your help. Choosing not to help that baby, that's an act of neglect and murder. That is different.
You just made the pro-life argument.
You did.
I didn't.
Because our argument in the pro-life movement is that there's no fundamental difference between the child in the womb and the child out of the womb. The child out of the womb may be older. The child out of the womb may have a different degree of dependency, may have a different environment. But you were you at the moment of conception. You were you at 12 weeks. You were you at 20 weeks. You were you at 40
This is not the
weeks.
argument I made.
But that's the argument you're making, is that the child out of the womb, suddenly I would have a moral responsibility
As a
to
person,
care
as
for.
a human being, yes.
Well, I'm a person when I'm pregnant, and I'm
You
cognitive
are a person when you're pregnant, yes.
So
Yes.
what if you were stranded on a desert island with a baby?
I wouldn't.
And you would have a baby that's not yours, but somehow you got stranded, or you got stranded in a snowstorm in Detroit, okay? Where I'm from Michigan, okay? And so you're stranded with somebody who's not your child. And out of convenience for yourself, you really don't have to put yourself out and figure out ways to feed this baby. If you just decide for your own convenience to not have to make an effort to feed this baby and that baby dies, do you think that that's okay?
I would say, depending on the levels of circumstance, me personally, if I had the means to care for the child, I would. If I didn't, I'm not quite sure what you would want me to do. I would try as I possibly could, but as it not being my child, I'm not in a state where
Sure.
I'm producing breast milk and I can
Well, what if
actually
you
feed
were?
this child.
What if you had a toddler at home and you were still producing breast milk?
I would try to save the child because, it's a child. There is a difference between a child and a fetus.
So
What's the
what
difference?
if there's some dude that's
we've
in a
already
house?
covered that topic, so I'd like to
Well,
move on
no,
to
but
something.
see, this is why I was bringing up Pierre Singer earlier. So Pierre Singer, who's a philosopher in Princeton, who's pro-choice, pro-abortion. He's a book you read, an author you read a lot in Practical Ethics and Philosophy 101. Peter Singer, I think, properly argues the pro-abortion position because he admits that there's no fundamental difference between the newborn child out of utero and the child inside of the uterus. There's no difference, especially if you're talking about a child who's born at 9 months, because the child could have been born at 7 months and survived. Like, we don't have in America, and we shouldn't have, a sliding scale of human rights, because what if the child is born premature? Does a child born premature in your view? So I met somebody today who was a triplet, and he was born at 27 weeks, and his mother was actually advised to abort him in order to allow her to gestate his two sisters longer. And his mother chose not to, and she delivered all 3 of her children at 26 weeks. All 3 of the children survived. Did he have less human rights when he was born, because he was born at 27 weeks versus a child that was born at 40 weeks full term? This is an important distinction.
No, because he was born.
So
that's the difference.
It's not the age.
That's the difference. Once again, we have covered this topic. The topic is, or we've covered this distinction. The distinction is that they're born. They're no longer fully
So you
dependent.
still believe in the magical vaginal canal theory?
Okay. Once again, this whole colorful language thing you got going on, the whole
I know,
magical
I'm
uterus
a
and
treat.
every other,
I'm a treat.
other punchline
No, but-
you're using.
But that's the
Excuse me,
point.
every other
You
punchline
think
you're using, it's
my
not a joke.
vagina
I don't.
turns a
Did
non-person
I-
into a person?
Did I say your vagina was a magical school bus? I did not.
That's what I was asking you.
Did
Because do you
I?
think
That's
a
not what I
mother's
said.
vagina turns a non-person into a
Once
person?
again, this is a topic we have already covered. I've already made my views on this. This is
So
not
you
something we're
believe
covering
the
back
vagina
over.
turns a person in a non-person into a person because you keep arguing that the difference is it's born. So the argument you're using is the vagina turns a non-person, a human who doesn't have the right to exist, into a human who has the right to exist because of the vagina.
No, it's just a standing aid where that person is developed.
But I just asked
Without
you.
it, it's not a
But
person.
there's
It's not
babies that are born
developed.
at 22
Yeah, that's why I was asking
weeks.
you about the
Because
weeks.
it's born. It's no longer
they're
dependent
not
on the
as
womb to be
developed.
developed.
They're not even as
All right,
developed.
let's give someone else a chance to answer your question because I don't think we're
You
going to
know what?
change your
And
mind.
with that being said, I hope you give them the respect you did not give me. Thank you.
Well, I'm
That
not,
goes for the audience as well.
I'm
Give
not
them
a-
the respect
Sure,
you have not
sure. I
given
just let
me.
you-
I don't know
Thank
how
you.
calling somebody a horrible reminder is respecting them.
As
Okay,
I
that's
said,
very disrespectful.
Excuse me, you took me out of context, and that is something I made clear when I made that statement.
No, you said you don't mean to be insensitive, but you were. You
I-
were.
I apologize if you took it that way.
Did anybody else take it that way? That you
Well,
are stigmatizing, you are perpetuating
I'm
the
stigmatizing?
stigmatization of my people
Excuse
group.
me, the use of your language is stigmatizing a false narrative that is not true. Pro-choice
you
is
said
not
that we're a
pro-killing,
horrible
which
reminder.
is something, a statement you made earlier today.
You
That's
said we're
also
a
something I'd
horrible
like
reminder.
to point out. There are not pro-life and pro-killing states. Let's get that
Yeah,
clear
there
right
are.
now. No, there aren't. There are pro-life and there are pro-choice. Pro-choice does. I have.
so wait,
You know
wait,
what? New York repealed the neo-infanticide laws. Okay, so what is that?
I'm anti-legal abortion. Are you pro-legal abortion?
Yes.
So you're pro-abortion and I'm anti-abortion. There are anti-abortion
I'm
states and there are
pro-choice.
pro-abortion states.
I'm pro-choice.
You're pro the choice to have an abortion.
Yes.
So you're pro-abortion.
Pro the choice to have the abortion. Should I say it slower?
You are pro-abortion.
Pro the choice to have.
Why don't you
an
just own
abortion.
it, ma'am? If you're
I
pro-abortion,
am
why
owning
don't you
it.
just proudly wear
I
the
am-
title
oh.
of I'm pro-abortion?
Baby, we're
Why
proud
does it-
and
why
clear.
does it have
It's
to be-
pro-choice. It's
Why
pro
do
the
we have to be
choice.
so far, like,
Pro
we're
the
so
choice
far
to have an
pro-life.
abortion.
Why do we have
Why
to
is
be
that
the
so
bothering
woman's
you?
choice
But
whether
you
she
won't
can
even
have
say
one or
what
not.
that choice
I'm-
is.
Actually, okay. You want me to stand proud and clear? Okay,
Yeah,
let
we
me
need
come up
that. You
here.
can go to the back of the line. I'm sorry. There's like 3 other people who want to
I
ask
was
a question.
I was
She
trying
can
to
stand
before
exactly
you
right
pulled me back into the conversation.
Well, no, you were just giving us a lecture. That's why we pulled you right here.
You want to talk about
You
giving
can
a
go to the
lecture?
back of the
Damn good
line,
one,
and
too.
then we'll let somebody else ask a question.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
But just to be clear, pro-choice is the woman has a choice. She's
To have
able
an
to choose
abortion.
for herself. If either one of you have a problem with anything I'm saying, you are clear to come up here and grab the mic for yourself as well.
No, but they're not allowed to talk because they're pro-life. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm giving you all special treatment. Okay, next person.
Thank you.
There's a man behind you who's been waiting to ask a question.
Hi, my name's Iris, and I'm kind of tired of the whole philosophical discussion right now because it's clear that none of you are going to budge on it, and neither are we. So I just want to ask a question about harm reduction. Given the idea that abortions are not going to stop, they've been happening for hundreds of years, and studies show that making them illegal, all it does is make them more dangerous. It doesn't actually stop them from happening.
Studies don't show that, by the way. There were actually more.
So abortions
more
didn't
women
happen when it
died
was illegal?
From legal abortion the year after Roe
Abortions didn't
passed.
happen when it was illegal.
No.
You're always
I'm
telling
just
people to
telling
answer
you,
questions. Why aren't you answering this
your,
one?
Your statistic is wrong. There were more women who died from legal abortions in the year before Roe than illegal abortions.
Wouldn't
in
you just say
1950.
that's
the CDC.
advancement in medical technology?
Maybe,
Because Roe
but
was from the
sure,
70s.
you could definitely say that. But Mary Calderon, the director of Planned Parenthood, the medical director of Planned Parenthood in 1958,
In 1958,
Came out-
they were giving
excuse me,
lobotomies in 1958. Like, what are you
1958,
talking about?
Mary Calderon, the medical director of Planned Parenthood, declared at a medical conference publicly that abortion was a relatively safe medical procedure done by physicians. 90% of abortions were being done by physicians in good standing. So you can ask your question. question, but I'm saying the study you're saying that we need to keep abortion legal in order for it to be safe is not accurate. But keep going with your question.
I just want to point out National Institute of Health. We just pulled this up since you want to keep. You have a computer. We can use our phones. It's no problem.
Well, I have my
78,000
notes,
women die a year from unsafe, illegal abortions.
Yeah.
Worldwide.
Yeah. Yes.
So, wouldn't you say that putting?
Do you think we should? But do you
What is?
have
Do you
50
think there is
million
a
children
difference
year
between
die
a
from
doctor
legal abortions?
performing an abortion between someone in a back alley with a coat hanger?
Well, that's actually not. That's the point I was trying to make when you made fun of my statistic. From
I didn't make fun of it. I just pointed
Well, you
out
said
the
1950s
ridiculousness
like it didn't
of it.
freaking
It's not my
count.
fault. It was funny.
What my point was, if you would have listened to what I said, was Mary Calderon, the medical director of Planned Parenthood in 1958, said abortions were being committed 90% of them by physicians in good state in the community, meaning there was no coat hanger. In 1965, there was a study done about the number of women who are dying from illegal abortions. In fact, this person who won actually won the Margaret Sanger Award, the Maggie Award, in 1974 from Planned Parenthood, the highest honor. He was their known statistician for the pro-abortion side, the legalization movement in the 60s. In 1965, this gentleman argued, he and his wife, they were a duo, a dynamic duo of stats, that the number that 10,000 women were dying a year of illegal abortions was wrong, that roughly the number was about 1,000 women or under were dying from illegal and legal abortions. So it's not an accurate stat to say that we need to have abortion legal in order to save more lives. Then you brought up the NIH stat of how many women die a year of illegal or legal abortions. I countered with the stat, 50 million children die a year from legal abortions across the country. 50 million children. 30,000 children, mostly females, die every day in China from abortion because they practice gendercide.
We're not talking about. We don't live in China.
Oh, that's right. Chinese babies don't count.
Can I
I didn't. That's not what I said.
Okay.
You can't just
Well,
extrapolate based off of
you
this.
just cited a worldwide statistic. I just gave you a worldwide statistic.
Oh, you gave me a Chinese statistic.
Well, I said 50 million children. I said 50 million children a year die from abortion across the world.
So if I
Okay.
may address harm reduction, okay, because that's
Go
an
ahead.
important discussion, okay? Now, we know that there are people who will drink and drive, correct?
Correct.
Do we teach them how to drink and drive safely? Do we teach
We
children?
teach them how to
do we-
drink safely.
Do we teach
and
children
responsibly.
how, knowing that they're going to text and drive anyway, because that's your point, is that people are going to do these behaviors anyway, do we teach children how to text, do we teach, your classmates how to text and drive safely?
No, we teach them
But
not to
because
do it.
some think that's right. And that's
But I don't think that
harm
it's,
reduction
we're
says, well,
making
don't
a
you
moral
want to reduce
equivalency here. It's because it's not the same
There's
thing.
a difference between harm avoidance and harm reduction, okay? We teach harm avoidance because that's what works in any other areas. We teach harm avoidance, not harm reduction.
Well,
we don't
it doesn't
teach
work
people. We don't teach
because
people how to
people
do
still die from illegal
fentanyl
abortions.
safely, do we? No, we teach harm avoidance,
But
and
to point
that's
out-
what we're all about.
But to
Harm
further point
avoidance
out-
doesn't work.
But to
Sorry, go
further
ahead.
point, no, you're fine. But to further point out your comparison with texting and driving, drinking and driving, yeah, these are things we teach against. But let's be honest, in mass scale in America, these are things that parents, aunts, uncles, whoever, anyone with a valid driver's license or not, do anyways. Anyone who's watching them is something that they see. When parents, when you're, sending a text to your husband or whoever while you're driving to the grocery store, yeah, your 5-year-old in the back seat, they see that. They pick up on that. When you go over to friend's house and you have drinks and you drive home, your kids see that
But
as well.
you do understand
as well.
that it's illegal.
And I also want to point out,
Just let him ask
give
his
me,
question.
it's not even a question, but
It's a statement he has a right to make.
Well, you keep interrupting him, man. So why don't you let him
allowed me to.
ask his question? Thank you.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
drinking and driving and texting and driving, the examples that you just gave, they don't just involve the person and their body who is engaging in it. It involves,
right.
the reason these things are illegal
You
is
figured
because
it
you could
out.
kill someone else.
That's right. Thank
That
you.
being said,
Abortion kills someone else. So these tools actually killed women in legal abortions. This tool I'm holding right now actually killed a woman from a legal abortion in Dallas, Texas, and it killed tens of thousands of babies. These tools came from the late-term abortionist Douglas Carpin in Dallas, Texas. Abortion kills somebody. It kills another member of our species. And in a D&E abortion...
Here's the difference.
What's the difference, sir?
Biological independence.
So you
That's
think,
the difference.
once again, dependence
And I'm not even
on the
talking
mother.
about, like, if you can have the discussion, okay, like, I'm open to the discussion. Like, I don't have a uterus, so they can chime in if they want. But I'm open to discussion of, say, the day before a child is born, if that abortion is legal. I'm open to that, barring any sort of medical complications or
So you're
stuff
against
like that.
abortion in like the 9th month?
Yeah, sure, maybe.
How about the 8th month?
Can you just let me finish?
Well, I'm
Because
just
you're
asking
just
where you're coming
interrupting. I let you speak to completion. Let me. Now, before I lost my train of thought, after you interrupted me, I just wanted to say that we do not treat a fetus who's 20 weeks old, we do not treat them the same as a person. For example, if you want to say life begins at conception, that means after two people have heterosexual sex, a third person is in the room. So do you want to make the argument that say they don't know they're pregnant yet?
Doesn't happen right
They
away, by the
don't.
way.
They
It
don't.
take
I
hours.
didn't say it happens right away. I'm just saying like this. You get the idea of what I was
That'd be a
saying.
long cuddling session.
Let's say after the person technically becomes pregnant.
Yeah.
Let's say, and they don't know about it yet. Either party don't
Sure.
know about it yet.
Sure.
They have sex. Has that third person been sexually assaulted? Because they
No.
cannot consent
Do you
to
not-
that sexual activity. Because
do
you
you-
want to treat them
do you not
as if they're their
understand-
own person that gets treated the
Did-
same and has the same rights.
Is
So
there
where are you
that
drawing
is-
the line?
You want to talk about absurd statements. Do you think every pregnant mother must abstain from
It's
sex?
not absurd when it's a thing that happens.
Do you
People
think
have
every
sex when they're
pregnant
pregnant.
mother shouldn't have sex until she gives birth?
I'm sorry, can you repeat
Do you
it?
think every woman who is pregnant must abstain from having sex the entire 9-month
No,
period?
because
Why?
the reason is I don't believe that is a third person.
So you don't think...
Especially when it doesn't even have a heartbeat yet.
Wait a minute. You just said you would be willing to maybe agree with me that abortions in the 9th month are wrong. Now, I will tell you, a common trick of women who are in the 9th month of pregnancy is to have a lot of sex. Why? Because it can open up the cervix and make you go into labor. It's a little trick, ladies. Save it for later. You said you were willing to agree that maybe in the 9th month, abortion should be illegal. So if I'm pregnant, and I'm 9 months pregnant, and I'm having sex with my partner, my husband, is my husband's penis sexually assaulting my child?
No, because I do not believe until that person is born
But you
that
just
it's
said
the
9
same
months, you
as
would
a
agree
fully.
with me.
Hold on. I don't believe it's the same as a fully formed human being.
Okay, so when
But
the
I
baby's being
I
born,
said hold on.
this-
Why are you keep interrupting me?
Because we're in the middle of
I'm-
labor now. If the baby's being born and the baby's head comes out, but the rest is still in, touching your vagina, and that baby is being born,
Yep,
half
head is out.
born, is that sexual assault?
Yeah, because the baby's head is in my vagina. It's stuck.
Am I committing sexual assault?
And you're saying that you're saying that you would have sex then? I'm
Is
confused.
that sexual assault?
I mean, I would
baby's
think...
being born, baby's 2/3 out, but my
No,
vagina's touching
because
my
once
leg.
again, that baby is still technically a part of you, and you have a right over
but if the
it.
baby's
It does not have
2/3
biological
out,
dependence.
if the
there.
baby's
The
2/3
umbilical
out,
cord is
shut
so
up.
connected. Like
And
these are ridiculous.
If the baby's feet are still in and touching my vagina,
No, because and even let's say it was sexual in nature, which is weird when we're talking about a baby. Let's
That's
say it
why-
was sexual in nature. You are consenting to it because you are consenting to having birth.
Well, the baby isn't consenting to having birth. The baby doesn't want to be stuck in my vagina.
I didn't say anything about that, but if you want to get into the philosophy of
Well, I mean,
whether
if you
or not
What if the
babies
woman's
have
like,
rights.
no, I'm keeping
I'm
you
saying
in
you
because I
want to
want to
treat
have the
them like
first
that,
baby of the
so
new
why aren't you
year.
being consistent and giving them the same
Because,
rights as
sir,
everyone
the
else?
way-
Why aren't you
when
saying
sex
that your husband is a
happens,
pedophile?
when the baby is in utero,
Like-
there's no sexual assault happening with the child in utero, because I'll teach you something. We have a uterus and then we have a cervix. The cervix, when we're pregnant, is clamped tight and shut. So no matter how big my partner's member is not entering my uterus. The cervix is shut because that's what's keeping the baby inside of me. So there's no sexual assault happening. If my husband's penis is entering my vaginal canal, it's even if he has the longest member ever, it's hitting the cervix. It's hitting the cervix, and the cervix is not allowing it to penetrate. So there's no sexual assault happening to the child in the womb. But I would argue, if you're going to use this line of reasoning, taking a baby and putting a baby up into your vagina and saying, hey, that's kind of sexual assault. We would all agree, like, that's sexual predator stuff. But when the baby's being born, we're all like, that's not sexual predator. That's
Because
how
you're
all of us came into the
consenting
world.
you are consenting to it. But what this raises an interesting point.
The baby
Because you
hasn't
say, how is that
consented.
not sexual assault to the baby when you're giving birth? We agree it's not, because we don't treat a fetus or a baby that's just being born the same as
No,
a fully
because it's
developed
not
human
sexual
being.
assault. There's no assault happening. All of us have to be born.
Well,
Just
even
because
if the
we
baby's
came out of our
born and I'm
mother's
forcing the
vagina.
baby to my breast to nurse, that's not sexual assault.
Yeah. Do you think? Yeah. Do you think
I
breastfeeding?
feel
sexual
like you're
assault?
coming at this from a one-sided space, because I'm saying no, there isn't a sexual assault. But you're saying, well, what wouldn't giving birth be sexual assault? And I said no, because a baby that has not been born yet is not the same thing as a baby who
So
has
when the
been born.
baby's
That's the
born and I
morally
force
or
the baby to my
philosophically,
breast, is
however
that
you wanna
sexual
put it.
assault? If the baby's born and I'm forcing the baby to my breast, is that sexual assault?
Breastfeeding is not inherently sexual, and it's weird that you think of it
That's
like that.
exactly their point.
But
with birth,
if I did it to a 5-year-old, if I did it to a 13-year-old, it would be.
I think you have a weirder problem if you're breastfeeding
No,
a 13-year-old.
I think your problem is that you don't.
And
you
once
wanna-
again, I don't see
the-
breastfeeding as inherently sexual, because
that's-
I don't
that's
see
because
women's
birth
bodies
isn't
as
sexual.
inherently sexual.
Birth isn't sexual either. We all have to come into this world out of utero through one or two ways: through a mother's magical vaginal canal or via a C-section.
I haven't argued that birth is a thing.
Well, you were just
That is not
saying
a
you give your
thing.
sexual assault. I think that the challenge is, and the reason we're having these like crazy arguments, is you're denying the fundamental science of what is inside of a woman is unique, whole, living human being who's never existed
I originally
before.
came up here to talk about harm reduction anyways.
Yeah,
and
I'll
I'm
answer
not
that
trying to
question.
backpedal here. I'm just saying.
Well, you asked about sexual
that-
assault if you're having sex and pregnant, so that's how this got into
No,
it.
I did that to prove that you do not treat a fetus the same way as a
absolutely
human
do.
being, but you're
We
saying
do
that they are.
We do treat the fetus in many regards the same. So, for example, are you against the Lacey and Connor Pearson law in California?
You'll
Have you ever
to
heard
tell
of
me
it?
what the
It was
law
a big
is.
story in the late 90s, I think maybe late 90s? So there was this husband, Scott Pearson, whose wife went missing, Lacey, and their unborn son was named, his name was Connor. And it was a big story, like it was a disappearance of this like 8-month or 7-month pregnant woman. And eventually came out that the husband had killed both of them. California, being the liberal abortion state it is, allows abortion whenever, wherever, government, taxpayer funded. California has a law on the books that says if anybody except the mom or the abortionist authorizes the killing of the child, it's murder. So if you would kill me, if I was 9 months pregnant.
I would say I disagree with the law.
So you don't think it's.
I don't think it's murder.
So if I'm 9 months pregnant and someone shoots me and kills me.
That's not how I understood the situation to be.
So that's what I'm asking you.
Because
So
you're
I'm
also
asking you to
killing the
clarify.
person holding the child too. So it's
So
not
if
the,
I'm
the
9
same
months
thing.
pregnant and some madman brings a gun and shoots me and kills me and my child, what do you think the madman should be charged with?
I think he should be charged with murder.
How many counts?
I think 1 count.
So what if I'm 9 months pregnant? the shooter
Because he's gonna-
shoots me in the
If
abdomen.
he's guilty, it's the same punishment.
Well,
so
no,
what does it?
No,
what
it
does
matters
matter
because
to have this
we're
discussion?
because in our laws, we acknowledge that the child who isn't being aborted is a person with rights. What if the shooter shoots me in the abdomen? I miraculously survive, but the fetus dies. What does the shooter get charged with, in your opinion? No, let him answer. Let him answer, ma'am.
To interject.
I'm
I asked
allowing
him.
her to speak because I've been saying the same things over and over to you,
So what
and
does-
we keep talking.
What
in
does the
circles.
shooter get charged
So I'm
with?
gonna
I guess
let other
me and
people
him
speak,
will
and that's
have
the
like
last
a
thing I'm gonna
difference
say.
in opinion of this. I think the murderer should be like charged on the count of killing the person and the child because the murderer ended a life he did not have a life to have the choice.
You're saying if I and the baby die, it's 2 counts.
Yeah.
So
What if just the baby dies?
I'm sorry, did you all ignore the second part I said? Because the murderer chose to end a life that he didn't have the right to.
So your value is only based upon your mother's, whether your mother values you. Is that what you're saying?
I'm going to give you the chance to rephrase your statement so it makes a bit more sense.
Well, what I'm hearing you say is that you think it should be homicide. Because this happened in New York, okay, where right before New York changed their fetal homicide law, there was a case where a man stabbed the mother who wanted her child, stabbed her, and the baby died.
As I said before, it's murder on the account that he murdered the mother.
Well,
and
actually,
the
no.
child.
New York said no. So New York changed their law, ma'am. New York changed their law, and when they changed you remember when they lit up One World Trade Center pink for their late-term abortion law? They changed their law, their fetal homicide law, and so he was actually in jail for a double homicide, and they actually came out and recharged him with only 1 homicide because New York said that the fetus inside of the womb did not count and that was not a double homicide. Do you agree with that or do you disagree with that?
He was still charged with murder, correct?
But he was only charged with
There was
1 murder.
another case, though, where the mother didn't die.
Yeah, he was still charged with murder, but only 1
I
murder.
feel like as long as he served,
What about justice, though? What about the concept of
he
justice?
still went to jail, correct?
That's not
He
justice
still
for the
received the
child.
sentencing.
No, because there was a case where the mother didn't die,
Oh, yeah,
but the
that's
baby
another one.
died.
Sorry, I was using the other one.
And there were a couple cases going on, and the mother did not die, and the baby did die, and he was set free because they said there's no more fetal homicide. It doesn't matter what the mother chooses; they're just not going to recognize the rights because they wanted to be morally consistent.
Is that
they
right?
did not want to recognize that the Democrats in New York, the state of New York, did not want to recognize that that was a human life, and they didn't want to recognize homicide. They didn't want to give any rights to unborn children, whether wanted or not, because they wanted to be morally consistent.
So is that right or wrong?
Actually, I'm really glad you brought that point up again because that kind of just reiterates what this whole debacle is. It's a moral argument, which is perfectly fine. You, at the end of the day, you can go home to your children, your family, your home, whatever, and have your moral standing. That's perfectly fine. I'm glad for you. Truly. I'm not trying to be sarcastic. I'm glad. I can do the same thing. Everyone here can do the same thing. The part where it gets wrong, the part where I disagree, is when your moral philosophies, you try to shove them down my
Aren't
throat.
you
to be
shoving
my
your
own.
moral philosophies
I'm
on
not,
me
though.
by saying that
I'm
child
not.
in the womb has no value and has no right to life?
Once again, these are words you've put into my mouth that I've never stated. And if you don't believe that,
you can summarize your statement.
It doesn't. You can summarize my statements by verbatim what I've said.
Okay,
Because
so
I'm not
you
trying
did-
to make
you
some
did-
egregious comparison or synopsis of
You
like
did
what I'm
contradict yourself, however, because
And
you
that's
said
fine.
earlier that I did deserve the protection I received, and then you said,
and I also said,
I
and
think
your mother had the right to choose
they
the decision
cannot.
that she
They
made.
cannot both exist.
But they can.
They cannot.
They can.
No.
Because I was
They
protected.
can.
The law said my birth mother could not kill
And-
me.
And your birth mother also had the choice that she made.
So she had the right to be protected, and her birth mother had the right to kill her.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah.
Those cannot coexist.
Well,
Either she had the right to be protected or she
Raising
didn't.
her voice is crazy.
Either she had the right to be protected or she didn't.
It's not either or, it's both.
It is.
Let me bring up a word. I don't know how many people in this room know this word or apply it to their life. It's called duality. Two things can be true at the same time. You can be in this world and completely exercise your right in what you feel for your body. I can do the same thing. That's the premise of pro-choice. Pro-choice is not saying, oh, if you get pregnant and you don't want it, you can absolutely go
So you think
abort
a
it.
child can
Excuse
have
me,
value
you
and
can
then not have value
I'm
at
not
the
done
same
making
time?
my statement.
At the same time.
I'm not done making my statement.
Well,
As I was saying,
we're here for questions, and you keep making lots of statements.
so do you. Isn't that
This is my show, though.
And this is your show. Yes, not denying that. However, you did welcome us to ask questions.
But you're
and to speak
making
our
statements.
And the second that disagrees with your
No,
moral philosophy,
I'm just asking you questions because you keep lecturing us on everything. I know exactly what you're saying.
Right?
But I just want to be very clear.
This duality couldn't exist, okay? Because
It could.
the law protected me. There was a 1931
That's a
law in
philosophical-
Michigan that made
says
abortion.
that it couldn't.
The abortion ban in Michigan is why I was born. That's the
Is the law a
protection.
philosophical argument?
That's-
That's what you're trying to make. Your philosophical argument as
And
law.
it's a legal argument too, because I was protected. I was protected by the
so is your mother.
1931 abortion ban. My birth mother's thankful today that we were both spared the horror of
And
abortion.
as I said before,
but
I'm
she
grateful
told
that it
me
worked
when
out.
we met, it should have been my right. She said that when we met, and she told me she went to 2 illegal abortions. I was almost killed, but she backed out because of the law.
And she has every right to feel
Do you
that way.
think
And I asked you, did I deserve
duality
the
question is
protection,
a
the
really interesting one.
1931 abortion
This
ban?
is a question I've
Did-
already answered.
You said, yes, I deserve that 1931 abortion ban. That I deserve that protection.
Do you think
got
do you think a human deserves the right to be free and work free in some cases, but in other cases
believe in what
it's
they
okay
like?
the
Yes.
human doesn't so is it okay for duality to say I don't know, a person who's black has full rights and personhood under the law in some states, but only 3/5 personhood in other states? Do you think that duality should exist and be exemplified in our laws?
I think that example is an egregious comparison, but I'm going to pass them.
It's not.
It is.
It's not.
To continue.
It's the exact, ma'am, you
I'm
just
okay.
said, ma'am, you just said duality can exist.
Yeah.
And I just asked you, can duality exist when it comes to African American people in our country? Can, in some states, say black people are full citizens, as we once said, in parts of our country. And in other states in our country,
I
we
think
said
it's
that they're
so-
3/5
I think
persons.
it's crazy that
Can that
you
duality
go to
exist?
such lengths to try to prove your point.
No, I'm just asking you, can that duality exist?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Because
Are
I-
all the people
the
trying
pro-life
to speak up on how
movement-
legal racism was okay?
The pro-life movement
Oh.
would say duality
Right.
cannot exist when it comes
Right.
to human rights. A person cannot be and also be at the same time. That's a philosophical fallacy. Either the person is or the person isn't deserving of rights. You can't say a person deserves some rights in this
Well, that's
location
because
and
we
not
have a
rights in
different
this
opinion
location.
of what we believe is to be a person.
When does a person become a person? Yeah. When does a person become a person?
Look,
The girl with the baby shirt has a question to ask, but do you want to
No,
let her ask?
I've been trying to pass the mic on to
Sure,
her, like
sure you have.
2 to 3 times now. If-
I think you were just bending over backwards to not tell another woman that I think you should be dead right now. And I think that's why you try to create this whole duality thing
Got it, babe.
and to say,
Ma'am in
oh,
the
you
red
deserved
shirt.
protection because it's difficult for you to look me in the eyes and
Pink
say,
shirt.
if I had my way, you'd be dead. And you just don't want to do that and show what your values are.
All right, let her
because
ask
that's the reality of it.
All right,
My
next
values are
question.
clear.
All right, ma'am in the red fuchsia shirt. I didn't catch your name. I'm sorry.
My name's Rebecca Kiessling.
Okay, nice to meet you. So you told a very compelling personal story and asked a question. Can you repeat what that question was that you asked at the beginning?
Did I deserve the protection I received?
And did you deserve to die? That was another question.
Yeah, I believe you also asked, did you deserve to die? did anybody
That
else
was the
remember?
first question.
Okay.
Did I deserve to die
Yeah,
for the
did you deserve
crime
to die?
of the man who raped my mother? And then the second question was, did I deserve the legal protection I received?
Okay. Well, I have a personal anecdote to tell as well. If y'all will bear with me, I don't have a prepared speech or anything. But my mother was, it was a long time ago, and she had sex with a man who she was dating at the time, but she had no plans to marry him, or, she was not in love with this man. She was just dating him, and he impregnated her. She had been on birth control, taking the regular precautions, because birth control is not 100% effective.
Right.
She immediately knew she did not want a child. She was not financially ready. She was not emotionally ready to give all of her care and love into a child. So she very quickly contacted her OBGYN and got an abortion. Now, my mother has never been the kind of person who could handle 3 children. I know her. She is the most, she cares a lot. She is very devoted to her children and to the lives of others. And I'll continue with the story for a second. So she decided to get an abortion. She continues with her life. She meets my father. They fall madly in love. They live together for several years. They get married, and then they choose to have my brother, and then they choose to have me. My mother has never had the desire to have more than 2 children. She could not handle 3 children. She did not want 3 children. She only ever wanted 2 because she knew that's what she could handle as a loving, caring mother. And I can testify that she has been extremely loving and caring to me. And I know for a fact that she absolutely loved me. She provided me with all of the financial care that I deserved, all of the emotional love and support that I deserved. And in many ways, I'm very privileged and very lucky. But the reality is that if my mother had never gotten that first abortion, she would have had that child, and that child would have been born, would have had a life, and he would have had every right to have that life once he was born. And potentially she would have then had my brother, just theoretically, if she didn't stop at the first one that she didn't want. But she never would have had me. So my question is my life not valuable? Was I not deserved to be born?
You absolutely deserve to be born. You absolutely had value, and I'm sorry you lost a sibling.
I didn't lose a sibling. It was never born.
Well,
How can you kill something that was never born?
You did lose a half sibling, and I'm sorry, but I also found it incredibly demeaning a few times in your
I don't
statement.
have any half siblings because my parents stopped having children.
Well, you did have a
with
half
other
sibling. Your
people.
mother had sex with another man, so you did have a half sibling. I'm sorry you lost a half sibling, but I think it's very demeaning when you kept saying, my mother can't handle. My mother couldn't handle 3 kids. I think that's really selling your mother short, first of all, to continue to say that a woman can't handle having 3 kids. You absolutely deserve the right to be born and to live, and I'm glad you are here and your life has value. But I think it's demeaning to sell women short to say she couldn't handle having 3 kids.
I'm not selling her short.
You
I'm
said it
saying
like 3
that she
times.
was smart enough and respectful enough to recognize that she had enough love in her heart to fully take care of 2 children. Financially,
I think that's putting a finite limit on love. I have 4 children. Every time I have another child, I find that I have so much more love to give that I never thought I had to give. It's not finite. My love for my children is not, I'm not like, after baby number 3, I wasn't like, no more love to give for you, baby number 4.
Yeah.
No,
who in here
but
is a
the
middle
love
child?
it's not a
Raise your
finite
hand.
resource.
You're a middle child.
So let me just say
Okay.
this to all of you here, okay?
Have you ever felt
because
jealous
I'm
of
a
your younger
feminist.
siblings?
I'm a feminist, and I want every single young woman here to hear this. You are stronger than you think. You can handle a baby. And let me tell you, none of you ever need to be afraid of a baby. I come from the generation of I am woman, hear me roar. Okay? You don't need to be afraid of a baby.
Do I need to be
Ever.
afraid of having sex?
No, you don't need to be afraid of having sex. I think you need to understand when you engage in sex that there are natural consequences to sex that you should be prepared to accept and not run away from if simply because the consequence is something that you didn't want to have happen.
Okay, who in here has had sex? Oh, wow. That explains a lot.
Excuse me, why did you just insult people? A lot of people here haven't had sex, and you said that explains a lot. Can you care to explain what you mean by that?
Well, I think it is my right as an adult to enjoy the wonders and the beauties of life. And that includes having sex, which
We're not here. Nothing in my statements tonight have said you shouldn't be able to enjoy the pleasure of sex. What I've said is, as an adult, which you just mentioned you're an adult, you should be willing to accept consequences for your decisions. Like when I eat like a donut, I freaking love donuts. When I eat a donut, though, I have to be willing to be man enough to accept the consequences of my decision, which is a bloated stomach.
Do you think that liposuction should be legal?
So what does that have to do with this?
Okay, you're talking about donuts.
Yeah, I'm talking about donuts.
Do you think that you should be allowed to get liposuction?
Well, sucking out fat from my abdomen is not the same as sucking out a human being,
a cum shot?
Human being.
A cum shot that started a chemical reaction.
A cum shot? Is that what you just said? I can't hear you. What did you just say?
A cum shot that started a chemical reaction.
Do you think you're a cum shot?
Oh, I'm not. I'm an adult.
Do you think children in the womb are cum shots?
Some of them are.
No, some are, some aren't.
No.
Some are, some, this is science, guys. Some are, some aren't. That's science, apparently.
Human beings in the womb are not cum shots that started a chemical reaction. They're a distinct.
How did they start?
They're a distinct human.
How did they start?
They started with sperm from cum and
then
an egg from a woman's ovary. Remember, we talked about this.
Is
two
science,
parts.
right?
Two parts. One part from the mother, one part from the father. Unite to form a unique living whole.
We were talking about sex earlier. Don't shy away from it.
No, I'm not.
Shot.
No, but I just don't think a child.
I just said cum shot like 4 times. I'm not shying away from anything. I'm answering your question.
I just don't think that a child should have to die so that you could have sex
though?
As much as you want.
Okay. Why do we celebrate birthdays and not conception?
Well, actually, in
days?
Asia, they don't. They celebrate conception days.
Okay, right. They're like, what,
But,
0
sorry. The other person told me the Chinese numbers don't
they
count.
turn
And
1.
I always tell people, happy birthday. I'm so glad you were born because you got to be born.
Yeah,
and I'm so grateful that
you
I got to
survived
be
the
born.
abortion gauntlet. Like, you literally survived it.
Do you have any idea, when you're a fetus and you haven't been born yet, do you have any conscious idea that you are about to be born?
Well, that is actually an interesting question because when you look at consciousness and when consciousness begins, many people don't, most scientists would say consciousness doesn't begin until after you've been born. It could be months after you've been born. Wow. So some people will say consciousness might begin when the cerebral cortex is fully formed. Other people will say, consciousness can begin when you feel pain, which a pro-choice and pro-life researcher have agreed that pain can be felt as early as 12 and a half weeks, even though the cerebral cortex isn't completely formed. So that actually depends on your definition of consciousness. I don't actually believe your ability to have consciousness right now makes or breaks you, because throughout our life, we may lose consciousness for a period of time, but that doesn't mean we're no longer a human. Your abilities or your future abilities don't change the very fundamental of who you are.
So you keep
and that's a member of our
on,
species that has equal rights.
You keep focusing on the importance of it being human.
Yes.
Okay. So what separates humans from animals or any other species?
Well, I would argue, and I'm a person who believes in a creator. So if you go back to Peter Singer's Practical Ethics, Peter Singer would label me a speciesist because Peter Singer is an atheist, and he says that human beings look to human-like qualities to say that's why we're special and have value. And he's a speciesist himself. because he says, I'm not an alligator, I'm a human being. I believe in a creator. So I will say human beings have value because we were made in the image of a creator. You do not have to agree with me on that fact, though. I have many pro-life atheists or agnostic friends who don't know why we have value, but can attest that human beings are special. Doesn't mean animals aren't special, but we would argue that we are more special and we
Why
are
are we
more
more
deserving
special?
of life. Because I have already said, because I was made, me, you.
So what made
we
the
were all
animals?
made in the image of a creator.
What made the animals?
Oh, creator made the image.
Okay.
So
But we're
do
not
you
made in his
advocate for
image.
bugs' rights? Are you like,
I don't.
lobbying the
No.
U.S. Senate and the U.S. Congress for
No,
bug rights? Like,
No.
So do you think humans have more value than dolphins?
Yes, I do.
So you would agree with me that humans are more special than dolphins?
Not necessarily more special,
but they get rights.
But they have more rights than dolphins.
do you go around killing dolphins?
No, absolutely.
Would you
I think
feel bad if you
dolphins
killed a
have
dolphin?
value. I would say humans have more value.
Would you feel bad if you killed a dolphin?
Huh?
Would you feel bad, morally wrong, if you
Oh
murdered
yeah,
a dolphin?
absolutely. I feel bad. Like I've already said, animals have
Okay,
value.
do you feel bad if you
But
kill
if you
a
give
bug?
me a choice, if you tell me you must kill either this fetus in the womb, human child in the womb, or a dolphin, I'm going to sadly kill the dolphin. I'm going to cry about it. I'm going to feel bad about it. I'm going to find every way possibly to escape having to make that decision because I love dolphins and I think dolphins have value. But the human fetus in the womb has more value than a dolphin. Do you think the fetus in the womb has less value than an adult dolphin?
I do.
So you think an adult dolphin has more value than
let me
human
change
fetus in
my
the womb?
answer for that a little bit. I think that an expecting mother who wants to have a child and has already formed an emotional connection to it really is, expecting this child, wanting it. That mother and that surrounding family, yes, that is a very special thing that should be protected.
It's a person?
It
If
is
the
not a
mother
person
wants the
yet.
baby,
No, it's not a person yet.
When does it get? So, if the mother wants a baby, it should be
However,
protected.
If cum enters my womb, and then it starts a chemical reaction, and then I take a pregnancy test and I realize that I'm pregnant, guess what I'm gonna say? Oh fuck! Because I don't want to be pregnant. That's a problem.
Well, I mean, I think my husband said that after baby number 3 too, but they didn't justify me killing my child.
So at that moment, I have formed no emotional connection to this thing. It has no idea what it is. It has no idea that it is about to be alive. It has absolutely no idea.
Do you understand the slippery slope you just entered yourself onto?
What did I say?
So you have no emotional connection. So you think your emotional connection determines whether or not a human being gets to live or die. Do you think that's a little egotistical?
Narcissistic.
It is not about living or dying. It's
Savage.
about being born or not born.
Okay, so you're thinking that your emotional connection with the child in the womb will determine whether or not that child either gets to the right to be born or gets to get killed in the womb.
I think that the mother should be allowed to decide that, yeah.
So you think your emotional connection. So say you have
okay,
autism. What if you have a severe form of autism?
Okay, I have no
and
idea.
And you can't form emotional connection with the child in the womb. Does the child in the womb have no value?
Okay, if you were pregnant right now, I would have no idea. It does not affect me if you're pregnant. I don't know you. I don't know if you're pregnant. It's not affecting me or my life at all. The only person whose life it's affecting is the people who know about it, which is either just you or not you.
That's what the Whigs said.
Or the people around you. Okay, so all of our U.S. laws are based around, and you actually talked about this earlier, does it affect other people? The only person that it's affecting is you.
Abortion is wrong because it kills another unique member of our species.
All right, we're going in circles, so I'm going to sit back down and actually leave because I do have homework to do. But thank you, everyone.
Thank you. I hope you don't have any cum shots enter you anytime soon.
And guys, do you see why it's so important to make sure you date a pro-life woman? Okay.
Men.
Do you guys see it?
Hello, you've been waiting so patiently. What's your question?
Hi. So first of all, I'd like to thank everybody for being here. I think it's incredibly important for us to have spaces like this where we can come and disagree
Me
and
too.
have civil conversations. I think it's really important that we don't get ourselves stuck in any thought bubbles and we're as informed as possible about the world around us. So really, thank you guys all for being here and being willing to listen to people who don't agree with you and being willing to tell us what you think as well.
I love how they all have statements.
For you, Ms. Hawkins, I just have a couple of questions for you. Just really, I want to get to know a little bit more about your perspectives and what you think. I know as a pro-life person, what specifically have you done to advocate for a better adoption system?
Well, I've actually written legislation, introduced it in the state of Virginia to reform the foster care system. We promote adoption every year at Students for Life. Every November, actually, it's National Adoption Month. I've advocated openly and in Washington, D.C. for more adoption child tax credits. What have you done to promote adoption?
It's not a personal issue of my choice, so I haven't done anything. But I do want to thank you for doing that. I think that's incredibly important, being a legal advocate.
And I adopted 3 of my 6 children. I adopted first, not because of infertility or anything like that. You know,
Because it was your choice.
I adopted
As a
first
woman, you
because
decided to do
every
that.
because
So
every
women
life
who don't
matters.
want to
Because
should
every
have to.
life matters.
I'm grateful that you were in a financially stable enough position to do that. That's
And
great.
and children are not a commodity.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, I don't think that they're a commodity. I just do know
Well,
that
you treat.
adopting-
Well, I mean, if you're pro-choice, you treat them as a commodity, right?
Did I say that?
No. Are you pro-choice?
I am.
If you're pro-choice, you treat children as a commodity, right? Because as the argument has been going on for the past half an hour, right? If a mother chooses and says that the fetus has value, they get rights. But if the mother doesn't think the fetus has value, they don't get any rights. She's choosing to treat the human inside of her as a commodity that she can do what she wants as she sees fit. If you are pro-abortion, you believe that humans in the womb are at some extent a commodity where you get to decide if they live or die.
Okay, that's your opinion, and I respect that. Absolutely. Again, I did want to reiterate that when I made my comment about financial stability, I wasn't saying it to commodify children. I was instead referencing the fact that it costs way too much money to adopt kids in our day and age. In the
Yeah,
United
absolutely.
States.
And with inflation, Biden's inflation, it's making it even harder.
Although that's not true when it comes to adopting foster children. So don't ever think that you can't adopt, you know, just because you will get a stipend, you know, if you adopt a foster child, and the adoption won't cost anything. So, you know, and I did adopt some out of foster care too, and I've been a foster mother as well.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Thank you for sharing that information with us so that we can all take that into our own lives.
It's just important not to have people think that all adoptions cost money.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you.
And one of the good things with adoption with the money is that, like in Michigan, we passed a law where the mother can receive stipend to help for her care during her pregnancy. And so it's really good that we've improved our adoption laws over the last several decades, so that not just doesn't only benefit the child,
Did Planned
but it
Parenthood
also...
advocate for those laws?
Pardon me?
Did Planned Parenthood advocate for those laws?
No, actually, it was Right to Life in Michigan.
Yeah. Those are pro-life
But we've worked to improve the adoption laws, not just to benefit the child or the adoptive parents, but also to benefit the birth mother.
That's great. Again, I wasn't trying to hit you with like a gotcha moment. I really just wanted to know. It's just genuine curiosity. Moving forward, I have another question, if that's all right.
Sure.
So this is kind of not exactly a hypothetical situation. This is something that is personal to me. I have a really good friend who at the young age of 10 was raped by her cousin. She did not know what sex was before this, and her cousin manipulated her into finding out and made it out to be a game. What would you have told her had she conceived?
Okay, so can I adapt? There's a very similar real life case that happened.
Yeah, the Ohio case, is that what
Yes,
you're referencing?
okay,
Yes.
and the whole story didn't get told by much of the media. So what actually happened in that situation, it's exactly what we always say: rapists love abortion. All right, so her mother took her to an abortion clinic in Ohio where they told her that she was too far along, being at 6 weeks. And they called an abortion doctor in Indiana and they sent her there. The abortion doctor arranged to have the media there ahead of time, and while waiting inside, the doctor was outside with the media because she wanted to make a case out of this. The girl was in there with her mother and her rapist, the mother's boyfriend. The doctor should have known, as we know in these cases, that the younger a girl is, the more likely it is that it's a close family member or a member of the household. And the more likely it is that she's been raped for years, okay? And typically they're much further along because you often don't even know that she's ovulating by then. But when you have a young girl who's being raped for years, they end up with what's called precocious ovulation, okay? Because the hormones in her body are saying, oh, you're of childbearing age, okay, and your body releases, starts releasing eggs. And this doctor could have called Child Protective Services right then and there, could have called the police right then and there, but she didn't because she didn't care. She went forward with the abortion, sent her back in the arms of her perpetrator, back to Ohio for 10 days before a local detective realized, hey, the younger she is, the more likely it is that it's a member of the household. And even after the rapist confessed, her mother begged to have him back in the household and said that there's no way it's him, bring him back, he's paying our rent. Her mother was trafficking her. And this is really what typically happens. We know statistically that every time a girl gives birth, not only does the rape end for her, but for all the other young girls in the household, because we know that the average child molester, from what they've admitted once they get convicted and go to prison, has actually raped 100 children on average. Okay, so not only does it end for her, when she delivers that baby delivers her out of that abusive household where she's being unprotected or even trafficked by her own mother. We want people to care about the plight of the pregnant 10-year-old. I'm so glad you care.
Yeah, absolutely. I am in a human trafficking class right now, and I have found that statistically, with a birth that actually usually doesn't stop the cycle. I'm sorry, I can't cite those statistics by name, but that is something that I have learned from Dr. Blanton in the political science.
Would you agree, though,
here.
abortion covers up the rapist crime?
I'm sorry. What?
Would you agree abortion continues to cover up the rapist crime?
No, I would not.
You don't think abortion would, because like right now, the rapist crime. Sorry, I said abortion is crime. No, I mean, right now in America, a rapist can go online and order chemical abortion pills. He doesn't have to prove that he's a woman, doesn't have to prove any pregnancy test, and he can have chemical abortion pills shipped to any address in America, sent from a doctor in her basement, according to the Washington Post and her friends or neighbors who are gathering up these drugs to any location, and he can feed them to her victim.
Absolutely.
Do you think that's wrong?
I would say that's
Do you
wrong.
think chemical abortion should, at the very minimum, a woman should have to go to see a doctor to confirm she's not experiencing a life-threatening ectopic pregnancy, to confirm it's not a rapist trying to cover up his crime?
I do believe that a woman should seek health care. Yes, ma'am.
So do you think she should see a doctor before she takes chemical abortion pills?
It's going to depend on how far along the pregnancy is.
Well, because the reality is that the Biden administration, when they got rid of all the REMS, the risk evaluation mitigation strategies on chemical abortion pills in December 2021, they actually said now a woman doesn't have to see a doctor to make sure she's not experiencing a life-threatening ectopic pregnancy. She doesn't have to get a blood test to make sure she's not Rh negative, which can render her unable to carry future children to term. And now the Biden administration is allowing anyone to order these drugs. In fact, there was just a case in Gig Harbor, Washington, where a boyfriend, as a nurse, got the drugs, shoved them up his girlfriend's vagina during sex, And he's not being charged with attempted murder in Washington State. Do you think he should be charged with attempted murder?
I don't think attempted murder.
What would he be charged? What do you think he should be charged with?
Probably assault.
Assault, but not attempted murder on the
No, ma'am.
fetus.
I don't believe so.
Because do you think the fetus has any rights?
Do I believe a fetus has rights? I believe that it is up to the person carrying the fetus.
Do you think that's
So
scary?
she wanted the child.
Yeah. She wanted the baby.
Then by all means, she can seek legal action.
So, but you don't think that the boyfriend should be charged with attempted murder because he tried to kill the baby she wanted, and you just said that the baby's values depended on the mother's perception of the baby. The mother wanted the baby.
Absolutely. And in that case, I think you do point out a flaw in our justice system. We do see a lot of really interesting discrepancies in charges between what is counted as like a double homicide versus a single and a pregnant woman.
I appreciate you saying that because I've always said that the law is schizophrenic.
Yeah, it's really
It really is. You know, and it's interesting because I did a search on the Michigan Court of Appeals, Michigan Supreme Court for unborn child and for fetus. And it didn't matter gestationally what age that unborn child was. All that mattered in the case was that whether it was a wanted child or an unwanted child. And anytime they were talking about a child that was unwanted by the mother, they used the term fetus. Didn't matter gestationally how far along, but anytime this was a wanted child, we were talking about fetal homicide, you're talking about medical malpractice, you're talking about, you know, a drunk driver or even adoption laws, or they said
unborn child.
They said unborn child.
Yeah.
And I just feel like that is just absolute
Well, it's one of the stages
cognitive
of genocide,
dissonance,
right?
and
It's one of the stages of genocide.
Whoa.
yeah, being
whoa,
able
whoa,
treating a person, dehumanizing that person
What
by
other
changing your
stages?
language, because it's always easy to kill the enemy when you change the language.
Are you saying that I'm again not trying to get to gotcha, I'm also just trying to understand what you were saying. Are you saying that let me think of how I'm phrasing this. Are you saying that unborn children are the subject of a genocide?
Yes, absolutely. Stage 4. Here, I'm looking right here. Hold on, I have to accept the
you're looking
Holocaust Memorial Day Trust. I just Googled stages of genocide.
Yeah,
It's
you're
pretty
probably
well
looking at the United Nations document on genocide.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I would hope so anyway. That's
well, I mean, this is
legal
the
standard.
Holocaust Memorial Day Trust. I just Googled stages of genocide, right? Because a lot of people say that there's 10 stages of genocide. Stage 4 of genocide is dehumanization. Those perceived as different are treated with no form of human rights or personal dignity. During the genocide in Rwanda, Tutsis were often referred to as cockroaches.
They were.
Nazis referred to Jews as vermin.
They were.
We today in America refer to the unborn child as a fetus or clump of cells in order to dehumanize them. And what Rebecca said is absolutely. Why is it when there's a legal case where a child was wanted, they refer to the child as an unborn child? But then if it's a legal case for an unwanted child, they refer to it as fetus. That is nothing more than dehumanization, right?
Do you believe that that's the standard in every legal case involving that?
It's, you know, I imagine it would depend on state,
yeah.
but I mean, little project you guys can do is you can look state to state and see,
Alabama
you know,
would say
when do they
unborn
say, when do they say unborn child and when do they say fetus? And it had, I tell you, in Michigan, it has nothing to do with whether the child was, and interestingly, it had nothing to do with gestation, but interestingly, it also had nothing to do with how the court was structured. So like whether they were like liberal or conservative, like they were all doing it.
Yeah,
like,
it's the same thing, right? We say, oh, how old is your baby? Or congratulations, what are you having, a boy or a girl? Or let's throw you a baby shower. We don't ever say like, let's like give you a fetus shower.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, what is it, a human or non-human?
And even
when we see a pregnant woman who's obviously excited about being pregnant, we throw her a baby shower. We get her baby shower gifts.
But even the women, when they go into abortion clinics and pregnancy centers, most commonly they will say, I just can't have this baby right now. They don't say, I just can't have this fetus right now.
Right.
They don't use the term fetus.
But I am also in a human rights class, so this is something that interests me greatly. Just honestly circling back to your comment on genocide. If you read the United Nations Charter on Genocide, there's a very specific amount of groups of people that are technically called into a genocide, and I don't believe that fetuses fit all of these definitions.
What does the UN Convention of the Child, Treaty of the Child state?
I will pull that up for you because I can't remember all of them off the top of
The
my head.
Convention on the Rights of the Child. It's pretty good, right?
So just, if I may, while you're looking that up,
Yeah, absolutely.
I was adopted and raised by a Jewish family. And so many of my family members were killed in the Holocaust. So from a very young age, I learned that there is such hatred which exists in the world, that there are those who would kill innocent others. And then my grandfather he was actually like very devout, walked to synagogue on the weekends, but he was extremely abusive to my grandmother. My grandmother was an atheist. And I learned my pro-life values from my grandmother, because a year after my grandfather died, my grandmother began to share that when she was pregnant with my aunt, who's the younger of her 2 children, my grandfather had told her to go get an abortion. And my grandmother for years would tell that story, and she'd say, I never loved him again after that. How could they do that? How could they kill the babies? She'd say in her little Yiddish accent. And I had to face the issue. That was my aunt, who I adored, and I was so horrified that my grandfather had wanted her to be killed. And so for me, I'll tell you, this isn't like a religious issue. This was just the reality of it.
Yeah. I can tell that means a lot to you. Thank you for sharing. So the UN Charter on Genocide does include national, racial, and religious groups. I don't believe that fetuses belong to any of those groups, and therefore I think it can be a wee bit...
Are there Jewish fetuses?
I'm sorry?
Are there ethnic Jewish fetuses?
They haven't made that decision yet.
Well,
no. That's
there
not a
are.
smart statement.
There are ethnic Jewish fetuses.
Yes, there's ethnic Jewish.
However,
are there black fetuses?
There are, yeah.
Yeah.
But the baby,
are there trans? Could there be trans fetuses or
there
gay
sure
fetuses?
Can be. Yeah, absolutely. So, but what I'm saying is that the charter on genocide. If you guys, if you have not researched this, I would appreciate if you could stop laughing. Thank you. So again, if you read into this, it has to be a targeted group, and I don't believe, while some fetuses can share those characteristics of different groups, it's not a singular group. A fetus itself is not a national group. A fetus is not an ethnic group. A fetus is not a religious group, and a fetus is not a racial group. Therefore, I find it incredibly disrespectful for you to liken abortion to genocide.
What do you liken the mass murder of human beings based on their age, their size, and their location to be? What would you call that? I would call it genocide, but if you don't want to use that term because you say, well, because fetuses can be of different nationalities, fine, but what would you call it? Just mass murder?
I would call it choice.
Well, no, it's obviously targeted, right? You're targeting a human who's a member of our species for destruction because of their size, their location, their age, the circumstance of their conception, or the perception of their abilities.
Yes, but abortion does happen on a circumstantial basis. It's not necessarily there is not a group of people that is systemically or systematically attempting to eradicate.
Okay, are you familiar?
No, hold on, I'm sorry.
What about gendercide in China? So in China, we tried to pass a law in Indiana. If you goes, yes, sir, feed it to her. In Indiana, we tried to pass a law.
I'm sorry, they weren't feeding anything to me. They were just encouraging me to not allow myself to be interrupted.
Yeah, in Indiana, they tried to pass a law to ban abortions, to say you can't choose abortion. Abortion shouldn't be legal if you simply don't like the sex of your baby. And Planned Parenthood and the abortion lobby rallied against that law. Do you think that abortion is wrong when you're targeting, because this happens every day in China and India, there's a huge problem with gendercide, right? There's, you look at the demographics of Asian countries, we have a massive problem. There's a lot of little boys, but not a lot of little girls, because little girls aren't held as high a value as placed on them because they leave their families. Do you think aborting a human being because of their sex is wrong?
Yes, because you're doing it yes, because you're doing it because of their gender.
So would that be like genocide? All the little girls in China and India who are getting aborted every day?
National, ethnic, racial, or religious.
So
I
what-
think it's wrong. I don't think it's a genocide.
So
No,
we can
gender
just, we
does
just
not
need,
count.
so it's, okay, it's fine. We can,
According to the
So
United
what about
Nations.
the systematic targeting of Black babies and abortion clinics being located
Yeah.
in Black neighborhoods,
Parenthood's
like
been
over
bad.
90%? We're in
80
Black
over 80%.
neighbors, huh?
over 80%.
Currently over 80%, but that was the original goal of the founder of Planned Parenthood, Margaret Sanger, was
I'm
to
aware.
commit Black genocide. Do you think that that was wrong?
I think that intention is wrong, yes.
So
I
do you
believe that it has
support
been used
defunding
for-
Planned Parenthood because they still operate 80% of their abortion facilities are in minority walkable neighborhoods?
I do believe that Planned Parenthood has other services that are important.
But they are founded and predicated on like their whole founding has been to erase a whole group of people based on their color or socioeconomic status.
And if that is 100% true, and that is like what the organization has, then yeah, I would not support that.
Okay. She called it the Negro Project.
Yeah, that's not right.
She called them human weeds, and Carnegie supported it. Like they all
All the
recruit.
rich guys did.
Yeah.
I've heard that before, and I would agree with you then that, yeah, maybe so that in this case, if that is the organization's goal or was the organization's goal, how have they changed? What have they done to rectify with that history? And what are they doing differently today? Those are three important
So they
questions
shouldn't be
that we have to
canceled.
ask
Planned Parenthood
ourselves.
shouldn't be canceled, even though they were literally founded on racism. We should continue to give them $600 million of taxpayer funds.
I don't believe in cancel culture. I mean, those people that like did come up with those are dead, hopefully. And I mean, there are things that organizations and places can do to change over time.
But tragically, like Black people have lost so much of their voices in our culture because of abortion. I mean, if you just look at the sheer numbers, and they would be the number one minority in this country, and they lost that status several decades ago because of the genocide, because of the purposeful targeting of their people group.
Okay. I'm sorry, what was the question?
Would you support a law that would protect them so that these clinics wouldn't be targeting them for genocide?
I would have to understand if the clinics are currently targeting them for genocide.
Would it bother you to know that currently over 80% of them are located in minority neighborhoods?
I think that also has a lot to do with the fact that a lot of Black neighborhoods are poor as well and very socioeconomically disadvantaged, and that a lot of socioeconomically disadvantaged women seek out abortions.
Or that Planned Parenthood's targeting poor women for abortions. Because, like, why would the solution be like, I don't know, help them get out of poverty? Why is the solution, let's set up a killing center that's going to profit off killing future poor kids?
Okay, and to your point, what would you suggest we do to help those women get out of those socioeconomically disadvantaged situations?
The Black family used to be very strong before
the
abortion.
In America?
Yes, marriage.
Yeah.
Yes, before
LBJ's Great Society, actually, before they disincentivized marriage, that is a well-known fact. Many Black leaders, left and right, would attest to that fact. Are you going to ask a question, sir, or are you just standing in for moral support?
They wanted me to ask a question.
Oh, okay.
So this is just one more clarification. Sweet, right? So can you cite your Chicago study again?
Sure. I can Google it for you. Hold on. I'm sorry. I pulled up the preamble to the Convention on the Rights of the Child in 1989. Explicitly recognizes the right of the unborn child to exist. Chicago, University of Chicago study, biologist. I think I have it on my website. Hold on, let's see if my Google ability here and my key of phrases is going to work.
Yeah, absolutely. You did say something about 90-something percent
You know,
of people.
here it is. Biologist Consensus on When Life Begins. It's on the SSRN e-library by S.A. Jacobs. Academic biologists recruited to participate in the study. It's in the Northwestern Pritzker, that's interesting, School of Law, University of Chicago, Department of Comparative Human Development, written July 25th, 2018. Download the paper here.
Yeah, so I did pull up some of those. You said S.A. Jacobs it's by?
Stephen Andrew Jacobs, yes.
Yes, so I did pull up some of those statistics, and they are all from 2018 and 2019.
Human life doesn't the when human life began did not change from 2018 to 2000.
Right. But those are the opinions of biologists as well. So I was kind of curious about what the overall overarching American opinion is. And according to a 2022 study by Pew Research Center, more than half, about only 56% of people agree with the statement that human life begins at conception.
Well, that doesn't matter if people agree with that. Human rights are not up for a vote or debate. I don't think your human rights depend on the popularity of who you are. Because when we've done that in the past, terrible, tragic things have happened.
Okay.
And the minority, the vulnerable minority, have no voice. So the reason I cited the study of biologists is because we would all broadly accept that biologists kind of know something about when life begins, and they need to academically study that question. The result of a Pew Research study and a poll of the general public on when human life begins, honestly, it bears no weight on whether or not you and other human beings have the right to exist, because human rights, quite frankly, aren't up for popular opinion and debate.
Okay.
It shouldn't be.
I see that you understand that as a human rights issue. However, we don't legislate off of the opinions of biologists or what biologists say. We do legislate off the majority opinion. So if that is your opinion, then I encourage you to do better at really raising that 56% statistic.
Well, I'm here, aren't I? We changed the mind of somebody today on abortion. A
bunch of people.
So I am here, but I don't think. I mean, our founding fathers in the Declaration of Independence said that every human has fundamentally the right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. We can argue about what the rights of government are, but I think we all should fundamentally agree that government, at the very minimum, must protect the life and the liberty of human beings within its borders. And so that's why we would argue in the pro-life movement that when the 14th Amendment was ratified from state legislatures across the country in the late 1860s, and those legislatures actually acknowledged in their other laws that they passed at the same time that the human fetus, the human in the womb, is a person, that we need to fundamentally agree that the 14th Amendment, the Equal Rights Clause in the 14th Amendment, applies to all human beings in our border.
Okay, well, I'm going to defer to you to allow you to have time to ask a question.
8 minutes.
But I would like to say thank you again for taking the time to talk to me.
Thank you.
And that's it's a UN Convention on the Rights of Children.
And I would
Rights of
also like to
Child,
say that
1989.
if you are an advocate for cancel culture, I think you should take a look at the histories of the people that wrote your laws and the things that they did with their free time.
I'm not advocating cancel culture. I was just asking if you were.
Okay.
But I do think Planned Parenthood should be ended.
Hey everybody. First of all, can we give a hand for them? They've been pretty awesome. Awesome in whatever way you want to take that. I just want to ask you guys a few questions about how long have y'all been doing this specifically? Like going around to colleges and like doing that type of stuff?
I've been speaking since 1995.
Cool, okay. You?
Yeah, and I've been doing this since I was 15 years old.
Wow, okay, so you guys are seasoned veterans. I just want to say that as someone who's never really been to something like this before, it was very, very interesting watching this all go down. I am pro-choice.
Shock.
I said, I know, right?
You've been holding a sign the whole time, yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah, I got quibs too, man. I want to say that you two both do a really, really, really good job at the good cop, bad cop thing. And y'all are really.
This is my first time ever doing this with her.
I know,
I have never done an event with another person.
There you go.
Actually,
I'm naturally a star. I know that.
Y'all have I just want to say, you guys have like the very subtle demeaning and the very, very often interruptions and stuff like that, and the tone and the looks. You do the looks.
Oh, I know.
You throw the looks all day long.
I'm a mom of 4. I don't have time for bullshit. So that's why I interrupt. Because
True.
you're giving me a 20-minute lecture about something, I already know, because as you already established, I've been doing this for a long time. I'm almost 40. I've already established and I already know the argument that you're going to make. And I'm just trying to speed it up so the next person in line gets ready. Because my husband's already texting me, why are you still at the school?
Like I said, well,
He literally just
well
texted
versed. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you guys got this thing down pat. I would just say, let people talk a little bit more. I understand. Like, you've already heard it before. I get it.
I
Oh,
didn't even give my
you're doing it
speech
right now.
tonight,
See, look, you're
sir.
doing it right now.
I
Stop,
didn't
stop,
even
stop,
give
stop,
my
stop, stop,
speech tonight.
stop it, stop it. Yeah, look. Just let people talk a little bit more often. Listen, I love the sound of my voice too.
Oh, we know you do.
I know
I
you
mean,
love the sound of your voice, too.
normally when I do events, I speak for 45 minutes to an hour.
I didn't give
Then
my
we have
speech.
Q&A, and then we take turns between pro-life
The
and
poor pro-lifers
pro-choice
didn't even ask
questions.
any questions.
I
We've
know.
given you
That's not the point of this
the
event.
entire time to ask questions. I didn't even give my prepared remarks, sir.
Oh.
So don't accuse me
I'm just saying,
of saying I didn't let anyone
you
talk.
guys got to create a dialogue, like not just like a yelling match. And
But
honestly,
you're
we
so
were guilty
funny
of that
because
too.
you criticize like,
We
oh,
were
the
so guilty of
demeaning
that too,
things,
where
and
we
you're
would just talk
mocking
over
her.
you. Yeah, I mean, I'm not.
You're mocking like, oh, and
Oh,
like,
yeah, for sure.
I
Definitely.
mean,
No,
a little
totally,
hypocritical
that
there.
totally was. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you lost your shit when you made that turkey call into the mic.
It was pretty funny too.
I know, it's definitely going to make the
The
internet.
people like, oh.
I'm going to start a clip with that turkey call. Give
Right?
everyone on social media attention.
right?
But my point is, it's just great. Oh, that's great. Lives for
Misogynist
TikTok.
man turkey calls Kristan Hawkins.
I'm not binary. That's crazy. I'm not binary.
You got 4 minutes. Come on.
Okay. I guess I'm just doing my stand-up bit now. You have
What's your
anything?
question? Do you have a question on abortion?
Do better.
That's not a
pro-choice.
question.
I'm
Not
not
a
asking.
question.
I would have had a question mark, wouldn't it? Do better. I don't know. Call your legislators. Research. If you're not informed about something, don't talk about something.
I'm pretty formed on it. That's not a mic drop.
So
dude.
do you think that by overturning Roe versus Wade, like
I was there.
what's the outcome that you wish for turning over
I
Roe
hope,
versus Wade?
my hope and my prayer is that the overturning the reversal of Roe allows states to now engage as well as the federal government, and it's the beginning and the first step to the end of legal killing that's discriminatory in our country.
I'm so excited for all the children and the mothers
Yeah,
who get
that's
to enjoy these children, and a whole new generation like me who were protected and can be grateful for being the gift of life because they were protected at a time when their mothers were vulnerable.
So this is just like, this is gonna be my last thing. But when I brought up that hypothetical to you earlier about a 10-year-old girl who was raped by her cousin, and I asked you what your response would have been to her had she conceived, and you said that you would have encouraged her to conceive as a way to stop the abuse. Is that correct?
No.
I didn't actually answer the question of what I would say to her because
You guys
that
are
was
great
your
at dodging
question.
stuff, too.
Okay.
That was your
No,
question
I don't
was
think she
whether
should have the right to abort her baby. I will answer your question completely directly.
what
I
I
don't
would
think she
say
has
to
the
her
right to
is
abort.
I'm
First
going to
time
get
tonight.
you protection. I'm going to help you to get safe. We want to hear all about what's going on in the household. What was your mother doing? We need to find out like what exactly happened. Were you being trafficked? Was your mother leaving you unprotected? Is your mother trying to coerce you now? Like who do we need to get you free from so that you
Like,
can
look at
be
this one.
safe and healthy?
Right.
And
so,
that's the start.
and on that note, I do understand that because of the no abortions, no exceptions, you would have probably encouraged her to keep the baby as it stood. I was that 10-year-old girl, and I'm not here to change your mind, and because you're not going to change mine, and I'm not going to change yours. However, it's really interesting to note that, in my opinion, this is again my opinion, you would have encouraged me to make a decision that would have absolutely ruined the trajectory of my life. My mother, if you would like to know, is a paranoid schizophrenic that was very absent, and I was manipulated by my cousin. So had I conceived, it's really, really interesting to me that you would have encouraged me as a 10-year-old child that didn't even know what sex was before that day to raise a child, or to give it up for adoption, or to do whatever, but to give birth to a child. Birth can be a traumatic experience. And that's really all that I needed to know is what you would have told me, a vulnerable child, in that situation.
Can I tell you now, first of all, I think that you matter. I think you're absolutely precious.
Thank you.
And you are really a decent human being.
Thank
I
you.
really enjoyed, talking to you, engaging with you. And I'm so sorry that you were abused. You deserved 100% to have been protected and
Thank you, I
treated
did.
with love and dignity. And, I think you're absolutely precious. And I'm glad that You're alive and you're surviving. And I'm sorry that you were harmed. I'm also sorry that, you know, a baby died.
I didn't conceive. I did not conceive. I was asking in the hypothetical.
Okay. Okay. Well, I don't believe that more violence brings healing. And I think that to suggest that a girl is healed by having more violence in the exact place where she was just traumatized. And the studies actually support what I just said. Rape victims are 4 times more likely to die within the next year after the abortion, because abortions help perpetuate very dangerous and violent situations. They have a higher rate of murder, higher rate of suicide after the abortion, higher rate of drug overdose and domestic violence, and on, because more violence does not bring healing. The women in my organization, and I have a network with Save the One of over 1,200, who mostly women who became pregnant by rape, and those of us who were conceived in rape. And what these women express is that, and there's a book that called I Never Called It Rape, and it's so brave of you to publicly share what you went through. No shame on you.
Thank you.
I mean, it's absolutely no shame on you. I'm not suggesting that at all.
Yeah.
But most women cannot even use the R word. Okay, and there's this book called I Never Called It Rape, where it's got hundreds of women who have gone through this horrific experience. And most women vow never to tell another soul. And what happens is they end up eating it, and they end up suffering, and they suffer in silence. And what the abortion does is it ensures that they never tell another soul, typically. But when they give birth, what these women express is that it gave them a reason to have to finally break the silence and tell their best friend or tell their parent, and they're able to actually then go to counseling and get some of the healing that they never would have otherwise received. And what so many of them say, their words, is that, and these are women who admit that they were initially abortion-minded, okay? And what they'll say is that they felt like after the rape, they felt darkness, they felt death inside of them, okay? And the baby was light. That the baby, when they did not want to engage in self-care, they weren't eating right, they weren't grooming, they weren't taking care of themselves. The baby gave them a reason, when they didn't care about their own health any longer, to start caring for themselves. And that they felt like they had a little angel to keep them company. They felt like they had a co-victim with them. The abortion rate of rape victims is actually half the rate of the average unplanned pregnancy. So you have 50% abort nationwide. That's what it was before Roe was overturned. Only 1% choose adoption. Rape victims, 50% parent, and then between 15 to 25% abort, and 25% choose adoption. So you actually find a lot of adoptees like myself who were conceived in rape, and what these women are doing is they're choosing adoption instead of abortion because they want the child to be raised by 2 loving parents. Okay, and I advocate to make sure that rape victims are protected from the rapist having parental rights. I'm behind the Rape Survivor Child Custody Act federally and nationwide, and I represent women for free. Tons of cases in Michigan to terminate parental rights of rapists. I help find them attorneys all over the country.
And like, sorry, I don't mean to jump in, but I was 10 years old. I was a baby. And I know that we are out of time, but I just would like to reiterate that. I was a baby. I was a child. And I did not deserve the weight. I did not deserve the weight of having to carry one had that happened. Absolutely not. And if that would have happened to me, I hope that I would have had a choice. Because at the end of the day, those women that you're citing in those studies are not me. That is not my experience.
Are you against abortion in other cases besides rape and incest?
Am I against?
Are you against abortion in all the other cases besides rape, incest, or health of the mother, 3%.
I'm pro-choice in any situation. And I believe it is the woman's choice based on her circumstances.
Well, I believe that you should have been protected from the horror of abortion. And I don't believe that more violence is the answer. And I don't believe that a baby should have to die for his crime.
We'll end it there. Thank you all for coming.
Yeah.